Hi guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to work with some of the basic commands for you to get started with ETCD. Now, working with ETCD is what you need to look out for. So we're going to cover two topics on this. So we are going to look at the default keys, which is available as ETCD is basically a key database and it's going to have everything by keys. But before we do that, we will do some deployments to get things started. So we will go to the namespace folder, so which we have previously created. So OPT software namespace. Now in this folder, we have already seen how to use this file. So you have a session for namespace, so you can go ahead and watch it again in case if you missed it. So here, kube control apply -m f namespace dev test prod. So we have created namespace, we have created dev deployment, test deployment, and production deployment on each of these namespace which we have created as part of the namespace file. Now we have some entries to look out for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compose this URL. So for me to compose the URL, I need a file output over here. So etc kubernetes manifest etcd.yaml file. Now this file, etcd.yaml file, is going to have information about whatever the items which was used to set up our Kubernetes. So I'm going to use that particular server. So I'm going to compose my etcd control command. Now etcd control command is already there for me. It is in the user local etcd, user local bin, etcd, and you can see that these three commands are in the user local bin. But if you're not finding this command on your user local bin, don't worry about it. Just go to Google and say etcd download. So I'm using Bing here, but just keep coming down until you see the release etcd-io. So just click on this and then you should get to your GitHub page where the etcd belongs. So etcd is an open source project, current version is 3.4.32. Now come down and you will see the assets over here. Just click on the asset and you will be able to see what are the options is available. etcd uses Linux AMD 64. So if you just see how you can make sure that this is the image which you have to use, you can use kube control, get pods -n kube-system, and in this one you can access kube control exec-it, and then the pod name, so the etcd pod, okay, -, and you can give etcd version -version. All right, -n kube system. I can see that I have selected the namespace because it's on the namespace kube system. And here it is giving me the output of this etcd pod. Over here, the version of this is 3.5.12. And you can see that it is Linux AMD 64. So this is how you need to get the architecture information. So you go to download AMD 64 Linux and then tar.gz. Just click on it, get it downloaded. Once you have downloaded it, create a folder over here in the OP software, make a directory called etcd. Inside the etcd, you don't have to download it directly. You can just do a wget of this URL. So just right click, copy link, and then you'll just have that downloaded on this location. And you tar-xpf, that should get your tar file extracted. Very simple. We're inside the folder and you're going to see all these couple of files over here. So as I told you, etcd utils file is like optional in this situation. So you don't really need that util file. Control can do everything. Just that shows up a warning message, but you can ignore it anyways. So copy the etcd star to user local bin. Okay, so when you do that, it's going to override it, or if it's not there, it's going to just create it. So when just compare this with the version I have. So this is the ETCD version, and this is the ETCD version I have in my system by default. So you can see that the one which I downloaded and installed it. So you can see that this package is built by blah blah blah. It's depreciated 3.4.532. So that's the version it has, and the version I have installed on my system by default is 3.5.13. So that's much advanced, and that's the reason you see the utils file there. So that's just pretty much how you want to get this installed, but I'm pretty sure you have it if you would have followed me from the day one of this video or the session. You must definitely have that. So now let's be in the ETCD folder itself. All right. So now what's the next thing? The next thing is basically getting the list of keys. So now that you have this ETCD control, the next thing is like -cert is equal to, you need to give the server certificate, which is over here. -key is equal to the key of this particular one, server.key, it should be called as. Where are you? Over here. Key -CA cert. So your CA cert, which is this guy over here, the CA.cert. And then you can give get. Get will fetch the information. Now when you give double quotes, it's gonna get all the information over here, and it is just throwing up an exception. Fabulous. Now this could be because we have not set the. This could be because we have not set the actual endpoint URL. -endpoints equal to. You can just give either of this URL. So both are endpoints because both are listen client URLs, right? So this is basically the endpoints URL. Still throws an error. I'm sorry, there was a typo there. I mean, there was no typo, it's just that I forgot to mention -hyphen prefix and key only. So this is the parameters. Everything else is same. We don't have to give endpoints here. Just give -hyphen prefix and then key only. So this is going to list all the keys available as part of your ETCD database. So I've given the command for this one I used on the GitHub page, so you can copy paste it. Now you can see that there's so many configurations. These means that these are different levels of configurations which you have as part of your Kubernetes cluster. So all related keys are coming over here. There's huge number of it. So it becomes like impossible for you to sort. So you give a grep on namespace. So when you give, grep on namespace over here, it's going to give you all the namespace. So this is equivalent to what you get as part of the kube control, get namespace. I can see that the default dev, kube funnel, kube node lease, kube public, kube system, prod, test, all these which is displayed as part of the kube control get namespace is actually an output from your ETCD. So this is the output which actually takes from your ETCD and provides it in a very readable format over here. Okay, so there are also other namespace based, but then they are not namespace. They are like cluster role bindings, but still as we are used to grep, it is just doing the grep work. It's not like properly giving you just a registry / namespace. If you need that output, you can just always give the full one over here, which is like namespaces. If you just give a S, you're going to get only those, right? Now, same way you can also do deployment. Deployment. And as you can see over here, so many deployments over here. Now, registry deployments these are the registry deployments which is actually needed. So I've given it again deployment, right? Let's try deployments. And you can see that these are the deployments which was done on the system. So this is the dev nginx deployment, prod, test, and then the cube system has the core DNS as a deployment. So that's basically gives you that details. Now, if I want to understand more on this deployment, so what I would give is like, I would get the specific key. For example, here I would take this prod deployment, for example, put this over here. Now it is going to give me all those information about this prod deployment. Like for example, you can see that it's all like in a formatted structure which you cannot understand, but the system can understand this. So the mount point is given, the PV directory is given, host volume it is, and then it has 3 replicas over here, the namespace is prod. So all those details about this deployment is written over here in a very weird way, because this is system, default stuff. The system is storing these values like that. But if you want to read the same values, in a nicer format, you normally give this command control describe, and then basically the deployment you would give. Just copying that. -n prod. So when you give this, you're going to get it in a very formatted way. Okay, now where this data is coming from, and this data is coming from ETCD, because ETCD is the source of this information, because anytime you ask something like a describe or get or anything, it actually fetches that get data from this item over here. All right, so this is what I wanted to start with in the introduction video. Now, one more thing I want to do is like I want to create my own key and then put some value in it, and then I want to retrieve that key for myself. So let's just do that. Let's just try to use put variable, put option over here. In the put option, what I can do is like I can create a value called foo and then put hello world exclamatory. And then I can put this, what I'm doing is like I'm putting in this foo variable, I'm putting this value inside this foo variable. So when I just put that, it says okay. And then all I have to do is like do a get of this foo. Now when I do that, you can see that the word hello world is coming right now. This is because like I can put on get into the key. Okay, so this is basically the key, and this is the value it's going to hold on that key. Now I can put this message and then I can get that value from the key. So this is what I want to tell you, that ETCD is a key-based database, which means that all the values or all the creations of whatever you're doing as part of your Kubernetes cluster configuration, everything will be loaded into this particular ETCD. Thank you again for watching this video. I'll see you on another interesting video on the next one.